One final sail on my way. She's empty now, and I'm still not quite sure if that's helping her move faster through the water, or if she'd be happier with all our stuff inside. Surprisingly small amount of stress when you're sailing a boat that doesn't have all your worldly possessions inside of it. We're gonna go anchor her, go find her a spot to rest while we go and haul out the big boat. So what are you gonna miss about sailing Miami?
How easy she is to take out and sail. It takes 1 minute to let the lines go and go sailing with her.
You don't think the bigger boat's gonna be like that?
No, it's more your home, like you said. It's easy to go sail in a boat that's not your home.
Maybe the answer is that we need to have less stuff on our boat that can be lost.
Yeah, that's an idea.
So this is maybe an argument for minimalism. We carefully entered San Rafael Yacht Harbor with a very wobbly Rossa. Look at the growth!
Oh my god! Happy, huh? Dinner, that's the muffler, anyone?
Dinner, yes.
That side, that works. Oh, but no wonder my propeller's wobbling. Oh, shit. That's late, man.
First thing was first, it was time to get her bottom clean. Spotted osmosis. It seemed like we had almost everyone in the yard come out and help us out a little bit. And then Rossa was maneuvered expertly into place.
Wow, I think it's loose. Like I was expecting like to prop just the
For a
bolt.
hard time to take it out,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think all that vibration, the engine loosened everything nicely. The bolt just came off like this. Both of them. Job number one would be to remove the cutlass, remove the shaft, remove the cutlass bearing, put a new cutlass bearing in here and get, well, I guess a new one of these, which is like falling apart under your hands. Like, I think it's the worst prop I've ever seen in my life. It's amazing it got us this far. It was actually bent. It was starting to eat the hull up because the space is so little that when it bent forward.
So you're gonna try and get the shaft off. I'm gonna go after the bubbles, the blisters. Yeah, I can feel them by hand.
Keep it.
We were back to the familiar task of repairing blisters, just like we had done on my way months before. We sealed up some through hulls too, and this involved epoxying and fiberglassing inside and out. We also had to make a completely new rudder post tube, rolling the special plastic bushing right into it.
Yeah, as you caress the shaft gently.
Robbie installed a new cutlass bearing, which should help stop wobble in the propeller shaft. We were also lucky enough to find a used propeller that was almost exactly like our original, and we installed zincs to help stop it from corroding again. Some of our through hulls we got rid of entirely, and others we just replaced. And then the tedious task of sanding down the entire hull in order to prepare it for some new coats of anti-fouling.
We're removing half of the gear bolts, and we're going to be cleaning, and then once it's nice and dry, we're going to put in new silicone and put new bolts, but with the same backing.
New nuts.
New nuts, yes.
New nuts on the bolt.
New nuts and washers, and use the same backing plates for now. And they're all clean, they look pretty good.
So there's 8 keel bolts in total, and I'm just checking with this pick around the thread all the way down through the the fiberglass of the hull here, and I can see that none of it has been corroded away. So the keel bolts are in good condition. You can't really see on the camera, but I can feel and see way down into the bolt here through the fiberglass that nothing has been eaten away. It's not like a thick bolt at the top and then a skinny bolt where it counts. So that's really good news. And then we're just gonna clean this up, rebed it, and Robbie's got some G10, which is a really thick kind of fiberglass material. Our friend has some of that material, so we cut out a few pieces and we'll just bed also along with the metal. We'll put the G10 in between the metal and the fiberglass, so it'll be a protective layer to stop there from being any corrosion in the future. This is one of these main factors when you have a boat. You want your rigging to keep standing, you want your keel to stay on, and this is good news, at least for keeping our keel on our boat. Although it didn't completely bring it back from the dead, a little bit of wax and buffing managed to make a huge difference in our gel coat paint, making Rossa, Rossa again. Our friends Margot and her husband Francis, along with their friend Dan, were also at the yard working on their rigging.
Top and the bottom clamped in, and now we're going to fiberglass inside for extra strength. And this time it's not going to fall off in our hands. That's one.
How are they going to stay in place while you're doing that?
I'm going to be putting filleting all over. And then it's just a question of getting the rudder to slide in.
This was the moment of truth, whether or not we could put our rudder back on. Unfortunately, it was way too tight, and we had to take it out, sand down the rudder shaft a little more, and try again. It was so much easier this time.
Yeah.
A little bit of primer, and she was almost set for her anti-fouling and to be put back in the water. We were so lucky to have been helped by our newfound friends here at the yard. I've been following the ongoing saga of the rigging of Francis's boat, so.
Tragic comedy. My friend Francis here is doing his rigging and his mast, so we're going to apply the all grip final coat today.
Nice.
Magically, I lived in Alaska for 23 years and bought a classic wooden Hershop ketch. Ended up down here in the Santa Fe making a living in the dry dock. Who knew?
She was just about ready to go back in the water. We just had to wait for this unfortunate little vessel named Flirt to be moved out of the way. Boats like this from all over San Francisco Bay are brought to the yard, their salvageable pieces taken off the boat, and then the rest carted to the dump.
Excited. Where's the champagne bottle?
Now we get to see if Rossa actually floats.